Aries rising. Pluto has moved into your 11th house of Aquarius. Exciting time for you that will bring possibility of great fortune, financial expansion, and will also bring influential people into your life. In this video, Aries, I am going through Pluto in Aquarius, giving you an overview of Pluto in Aquarius for this 20-year transit, and also focusing on some of the earlier transits that will be happening for your sign. So stick with me as I break it all down for you. Welcome, beloved souls. Welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Vivía, and this is my channel, Your Soul as Well, where I use astrology to help us navigate our shifting and exciting and sometimes turbulent world. I want to remind everybody, like the content I'm creating and you want me to create more content for you, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and remember to hit the notification bell because I am uploading regularly and I would not want you to miss an upload. So Aries, you can see here that Pluto is in your 11th house here of Aquarius. This chart is generated for the last final ingress of Pluto into Aquarius on November 19th, 2024. So just a few months ago. So your 11th house has a lot to do with your networks of people, your groups and your associations, the people that you associate with. It has to do your friends, your friend groups as well, any organization that you belong to. And Pluto is a planet of destruction and reconstruction. It wants to go into areas of our lives that no longer work for us, to take apart what is no longer working so that we can put it back together in a way that does work for us. And since your 11th house is a very socially motivated house, expect lots of changes with Pluto going through this house for 20 years. Expect changes in the networks that you associate with, the friend groups that you associate with, the groups that you belong to, the things that you are attracted to. It's also about your hopes and your wishes. So over time, Pluto in this house may break it down as well. Because Pluto is such a powerful and magnetizing planet, and it's in your 11th house of influence from groups and friends, you might find that you're drawing to you really powerful people that you can form alliances with, that you can network with, and that will increase your own personal influence over this 20-year span. This transit might have you amplifying your ability to lead others in these group settings and to affect change and to lead within these social circles and organizations. We look to Pluto for power and empowerment, and because it is there in your 11th house, this may assist some Aries risings with sharing of information and collaboration within group settings and social networks. Pluto is a planet of depth. It has us really dig deep and understand ourselves on a very subconscious and very core level. So as it's going through this house, expect to gain a deeper understanding of your role in society through your groups and networks and organizations that you belong to. And for you, it will be learning about how to contribute positively towards these groups and use your influence for good. Because Pluto transforms us, your social circles and the networks that you belong to may undergo the same transformation process whereby Pluto breaks down and then reconstructs. Outdated ideas may fade away. Same thing with friendships. Some friendships may fade away, or groups or networks, but it's all to make room for the new and the new ideas, innovative and influential people and groups that are more aligned to who you are becoming as Pluto is transforming this house for you. The 11th house is also associated with innovations and medicine and technology, being naturally the house of Aquarius. Some of your groups and your networks may be focused around any of those themes. And you may yourself may be meeting some very innovative people with some future thinking ideals or projects or things that they want to bring to society. I'm going to go through a few dates with you here that I have. Let's go backwards in time a bit here and look at this Mars that is opposite Pluto. Mars was here in your 4th house with Pluto up in your 10th. This is the first opposition that we had with Pluto. And I want you just to think about perhaps what happened or reflect back on this date because this is very confrontational energy. Then we had our second Mars opposite Pluto here, but at this point in time, Mars has moved into your 5th house and Pluto is fully in your 11th house. Again, reflect back to this date, January 3rd of this year, just a few weeks ago. And again, very confrontational energy, but this time in your 5th house. So creative endeavors, romance, children, this is the 5th house. And here in your 11th house, this could have been perhaps your participation with the groups or friends or things coming here, maybe being polarized and pulled between associations with your friends or a situation here in your 5th house. This is going to be important because Mars is going to oppose Pluto one more time here on April 27th of 2025. By this point, Mars is back in Leo. And if you reflect back, and if anything happened at all, then it could prepare you for any other type of outburst. Mars can be impulsive and aggressive. So just understand that there's one more Mars opposition, and looking to our past can sometimes help us understand energy that will be incoming again. On this date, January 21st of 2025, and the dates are all up here in this corner if you need to zoom in on that to get a better idea of the date. The Sun is here conjuncting Pluto. This is significant because this is what is setting off a synodic cycle where the Sun and Pluto are coming together in a conjunction. And again, reflect back. Did anything significant happen for you around this time? Because this is a very powerful cycle starting off for all of us. And it's here in your 11th house. So again, honing in on powerful alliances coming your way, powerful associations with groups or people, and aligning yourself to people who are associating and collaborating with people who are more of your own like mind and who have more of your own core beliefs, vision for the future, similar hopes and aspirations. So that's what I see here. So this cycle, like I said, is a year around this time next year, Pluto and the Sun will come back into conjunction with Pluto, setting off a whole new synodic cycle. On March 30th, right after the equinox on March 20th of this year, Neptune will ingress here into Aries. So Aries is the 0-degree Aries point is a really important point. It's considered the cardinal initiation point and a birth point. And because there's so much happening here in the 1st house at 0 degrees of Aries, it's symbolically like a rebirth here of humanity. And for you, Aries, this is, I think, too, a rebirth of yourself, because all of this is happening right here in your 1st house of self, of your identity, of your body, of how you perceive yourself. And so Neptune in Aries, this is one of the things that at first with Pluto here in this 11th house of yours, Pluto will be dealing with, because this will come into a sextile here with Pluto and be influencing Pluto. And Neptune is about our dreams and our visions. It can create fogginess or some type of, illusion for us as well. But it's also about tapping into our dreams. And in Aries, the sign of initiation and action, many people will be able to really actualize that. And it will be connected here to your Pluto with your groups and organizations in a broader context of reaching larger groups. And this 11th house too is your higher house of money. And with Pluto going through this house, there will be, I can see great opportunities for many Aries risings to capitalize on this through increasing wealth. On May 25th, Saturn will ingress Aries. Again, at that 0 degrees Aries, and it's applying already to a conjunction here with Neptune. So Saturn is the planet that gives us our structure and it's our reality check. So there may be a bit of a reality check here with Neptune going in. First, Neptune is the planet of dreaminess. But here with Saturn coming in here, Neptune also dissolves, so Saturn's influence may not be as strong, but there's going to be an urge to put something into structure, perhaps something that Neptune has inspired, some vision or something to do with your own identity and who you are and how you are showing up. And again, Saturn will be sextiling Pluto here for the first while that it's in Aries, so it will be influencing Pluto. The Saturn here in Aries, again, maybe bringing some structure here to this 11th house of your groups and associations. On June 9th, Jupiter will ingress Cancer. So this I covered in depth in the node video that I did. I'll link it here so you can go back and watch it if you haven't, if you want more information about Jupiter in your 4th house. But in Cancer, it's exalted. So that means it's helping the North Node placement here in Pisces. It's helping to elevate it and helping it to maximize its reach and what it can accomplish. In these early degrees, however, Jupiter is making what is called an in conjunction to Pluto, which brings up unresolved patterns that are underneath the surface. And it's here in your 4th house. So perhaps, because Pluto is our subconscious, so perhaps stuff might be coming up for you around your family, your home, your roots, your foundation, your ancestral lineage. Could be with your mother or mothering, because that is all the 4th house, and your inner security. On July 7th of 2025, Uranus will ingress Gemini, and it's here in your 3rd house of communication, of your immediate surroundings, your siblings, your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, the people that you spend time with on a daily basis. It's also short distance travel. Uranus coming into this house is going to affect this house and change it, and sometimes suddenly or very radically. But as it applies here to Pluto in your 11th house, it will be in trine for a while, and it will bring sudden and erratic changes here as well to your 11th house, again, of your groups and your friends and your associations. So maybe at these points when Neptune is contacting by trine Pluto, maybe that's when you have your unexpected changes, for better or for worse. But remember, if anything is ending in these houses, it doesn't always have to be about ending. It's not necessarily a negative thing. Uranus is the ruler here of your 11th house. So it could be about sudden innovative ideas that you can use to collaborate in groups and bring to the collective. It could be mavericks coming in, innovators, people that are outliers coming in and becoming part of your network and becoming one of those powerful alliances. Here on August 12th is one of the first times that I can see that Uranus and Pluto will be in a trine within 1 degree. And again, just reflect back on the things I've just said. It has to do with your own just sudden and possibly positive changes regarding your 11th house and the people that you network with and money. Remember that Pluto rules over wealth, hidden wealth and great wealth. So going through your 11th house and its connection to with Uranus, sudden changes perhaps to your wealth. On September 1st of 2021, Saturn will retrograde back here into your 12th house for a while. So then it's back in your 12th house of it's a very hidden house, very subconscious, deals with our ancestry. And Saturn is the planet of structure, and it's here in Aries. So maybe giving you some structure to work with, perhaps your dreams, perhaps your ancestral memories, your subconscious, and maybe even some isolation factor here because the 12th house is isolating, maybe needing to be alone more at this point in time, especially with the North Node is there and amplifying that energy. But it won't be there long. It'll only be there till February of 2026, and then it goes back, and then it'll go back into Aries. But then shortly after that, on October 22nd of 2025, Neptune retrogrades back into Pisces. So now Neptune and Saturn are together again in Pisces in your 12th house. So again, pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to memories that are coming up. You might want to, when Neptune comes back into your 12th house, there might be an element of wanting to escape reality or wanting to be isolated. So do what you need to do to take care of yourself. And remember that these planets will only be there until February of 2026. I'm pointing this date out to everybody because it's a very interesting date where all the planets are at 4 degrees. Here is Pluto at 4 degrees of Aquarius. Then there is Neptune at 4 degrees of Aries. Then we have Uranus at 4 degrees of Gemini. And then we have Jupiter at 4 degrees of Leo here. And it forms a shape of a bucket, but there's a lot of harmonious energy here. First, Pluto is sextiling Neptune, and Neptune is sextiling Uranus. Uranus is sextiling Jupiter. Jupiter and Neptune are in a trine, while Pluto and Uranus are in a trine, and also Jupiter is opposing Pluto. So Jupiter expands everything that it comes into contact with. So as an opposition to Pluto, there might be something really magnified here dealing with any of those topics that I stated about the 11th house. So something coming to light, because Pluto is also the excavator and wants to dig deep and wants to root out any corruption or deception or anything that is misaligned. Maybe people, because Pluto also is about control and manipulation and fear. And so maybe if there's any type of controlling or manipulative behavior within any of the groups that you associate with or any of the people, this might be a time where it's really amplified and it's really out there on the table for all to see. So of course, always make sure that you're acting ethically and you're not the one being exposed. It's always going to be important for us to be in our truth and standing firm in our truth and doing the right and accountable thing. So that is a really interesting date to pay attention to. Like I said, lots of really great energy here with Pluto in your 11th house of groups and communities, first house of self, third house of immediate community, and some family ties here and communication. And then your fifth house of adventure and romance and children and creativity. So watch for that date, beloved. On July 26th of 2026, the nodes then shift. The North Node moves into your 11th house, where it will be with Pluto for 1.5 years. Towards the end, it will come into contact as a conjunction with Pluto. And the South Node will move here in Leo in your 5th house. Now, I want to also point out that during 2026 and 2028, there will be an ongoing trine here between Pluto and Uranus. So reflect back on the things I've just said about Uranus being the sudden disruptor, and Pluto is its own disruptor, planet of destruction. So these two coming into contact, like I said, might not be negative. Don't think of it negatively. Many great things will come from this as well. And for you, it's going to involve your house, your 11th house and your 3rd house. This, like I said already, this ongoing trine may lead to great changes in wealth and also restructuring perhaps suddenly some of the networks and groups that you belong to. So those are the transits I wanted to go over with you. Just the first ones that are happening right now in these next few years, especially so we can have a heads up. But mostly Pluto going through your 11th house. Wherever Pluto goes, it's the planet of power. And we watch it to see as it will just clear away everything that no longer is serving your highest good. So some of the challenges for you, Aries, with Pluto in your 11th house, you might come up against some challenging people or people that try to overpower you. Pluto is the planet of power and control and manipulation. And so within these groups, there might be a potential of power dynamics and struggles, control issues, manipulation, lies, and deceit. You will want to watch for these things if you start to see them in others. Obviously, you're within yourself as well. And like I said, needing to be accountable for our own behavior and stand ethically in our behavior. And you might experience overpowering energy wherever Pluto is. So in the 11th house, dealing with groups, dealing with higher finances, dealing with perhaps your emotions, of what you want for your dreams and your hopes and desires for your life. At this point, you might come into some really powerful ideas about where you want your life to go and the dreams that you want to set forth for your life, starting in these now and within the next 20 years. It will be important to just break old habits and release the old to allow the new energy to come in and to allow new people to come in. If it is friendship groups that are leaving, if it is ties to networks and associations, it's not necessarily easy to let go of relationships or things that have served us. But if they're no longer serving us, then they're stagnating us. And what Pluto wants is for your growth, your evolutionary growth. This is what Pluto wants for you. So letting go of old patterns, letting go of people that hold you back, or networks or associations that are no longer aligned with your vision of who you are and what you want for your life, will make Pluto's transit through your 11th house easier. And just being able to walk away when you see it's not working. So breaking unhealthy patterns, letting go of anything old that no longer is serving, and creating new habits. And if you do this, beloved Aries, there will be openings for greater groups of people that align really with your vision, your hopes, and your dreams, where you want to go, with your new values and your new core sense of Pluto going through here, developing for you, bringing new opportunities in social engagement and your own personal empowerment. Keep in mind too that this is your social network house, the 11th house. So some of you might become very powerful online personalities, perhaps even famous and reaching new people on the internet. So there's a saying that goes, I'm probably going to butcher it, but it goes something like this: if we constantly fill our lives with the people that we think are our friends but aren't really our friends, then our true friends, there's no room for our true friends to find us. And that's what I want you to think now, with the disruption that both Pluto and particularly Uranus, and maybe even that opposition with Jupiter to Pluto might bring. It might bring some chaotic changes, but they will be for your highest good. And if you continue to work with Pluto, it will help you to dredge out everything that's not working so that you can really reach new heights perhaps in your career and, yes, your self-empowerment. And like I said, some of you might reach heights that you've never, ever dreamed before, being able to reach mass audiences and affect positive change on the earth. And then some of you as well might be able to reach high levels of financial opportunity that you never saw possible before. So this is all in the cards for you, Aries rising. But again, it has to do with allowing yourself to let go of what is no longer serving you and what needs to be put down now in order to take up the new. The 11th house is considered a good karma house. That's why it's the hopes and dreams house. Now, Pluto going through might not be easy, but if you work with Pluto and do not resist Pluto, it will bring about positive changes that you can look back over and be proud of your accomplishment and proud of the work that you have done. Remember that Pluto is all about control, and the more you can surrender control in any of the groups that you're in any of the associations, whatever Pluto is bringing up for you to notice, remember there are bigger forces at play and that we can only see what's right before us. It's time just to surrender and trust what's before you and just let it go. Both Pluto and Aquarius want your authenticity. So drop into that and as much as possible, be true and authentic to yourself. And if there are people or situations that are falling away from you, remember that the right situations and the right people will magnetize to you. This is Pluto's influence, especially if you're truly standing in your authentic empowerment. You will draw to you who is meant to be drawn to you. Pluto being in your 11th house will call you to greater leadership. So for some of you, this might already be, as Aries rising, something that you're very familiar with, but to what extent is individual. So some of you may be called to even greater leadership. And again, it comes back down to your sense of empowerment and sense of self and that authentic voice. Remember to keep an open mind, and remember it's a very long transit, and to do the best that you can each day with it, understanding that you are becoming empowered in leadership and evolution through group involvement. You are here to do this empowerment work through your friendships, your networks, your associations, and your social life. In this time period, you might find that you have an increased awareness of humanitarian causes, and maybe some of your groups will focus on fighting for a cause for humanity and bringing awareness to subjects that call to your heart. And in terms of your leadership, it will be helping you redefine who you are as a leader, about your authentic self, how you authentically want to lead, and less about conforming to how others see you or want you to lead, perhaps, or how they want you to show up. So always tuning back into the self and to the core self of what you know is for your best interest. So also, Aquarius deals with a certain level of objectivity, and Pluto in its own kind of does too, more through its isolation factor. And so when they're together, there's going to be a need for you to detach from perhaps certain ideals or how you thought groups should run or should be, and understand that belonging to a group or a greater group or network doesn't mean that you have to align on every vision or agree on every point. That might be a big issue for you, Aries rising, and learning to find balance to be harmonious together is going to be important. All right, my beloved Aries rising, that is my reading for you for Pluto going through Aquarius. I'm sure as we go along, I'll do another one, but this is my first. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. If you liked my video, remember to hit the thumbs up and like the video and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment. All those things really help promote this channel and helps me to make more content for you. Also, Aries rising, if you have not watched your video for the nodal shift into Pisces and Virgo, I'll link it here for you to go and watch. Thanks, beloved Aries. Stay blessed, and I will see you on the next video.